Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wall Street Tactical. We have an amazing new series that we are starting called AInomics to explore the effects of AI on markets and the economy and economics in general. We have a guest here, Dr. Soman Ghosh, who's been a professor in economics and finance for over 30 years. So, Dr. Ghosh, we have quite a few new things happening, but I want to touch on three subjects. Number one, how do you see AI displacing skilled knowledge workers in the fields of writing, in the fields of education, in the fields of professional services being displaced, and the effect on global gross domestic product as well as wage reduction? And that's number one. So go ahead and start with that question, and please introduce yourself, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Sam. My name is Soman Ghosh. I'm a professor of economics, like you said, and I am practicing this craft for 37 years. Presently, I'm a professor. I used to be a department chair at Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee. Prior to that, I was in New Mexico, and before that, I was in Utah State. AI, and the coinage now is AInomics. You know, the nomics comes economics comes basically from making of money. Economics is the making of money. Anytime you try to coin something with a suffix such as nomics means the impact of that particular aspect on money or the making of money. So your question, Sam, is very appropriate and very timely. As you know, that the Chat GPT, AI, in Google, and then other areas, they are trying to disrupt. I would call it these are major disruptor. This term is not new, disruptor. In our profession, that's economics. Michael Porter, who is a noted economist at Harvard, used the terminology called disruptor or technology. So this is a new technology which is trying to disrupt the current practices. Regardless of where you are, whether you are in the pharma or economics, or you are a programmer, you are an architect in the computer area, AI is basically trying to disrupt the current practices. However, I see a short-run impact as well as a long-run impact of it. For those of us, gray hair, gray beard, we have seen the role of computer in every field. Prior to computer, if you remember, we did not have computer in the 60s or 50s, very little, 70s, 80s, gradual introduction, and now everything is computerized. Even the check stands at grocery stores are all not manned by human beings, mostly. AI will be a disruptor of that magnitude even more because we are so dependent on technology. And these technology aspects will be not instantly replaced by AI, but will be augmented, in my sense, will be augmented by massive introduction of AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning adaptation of practices. In terms of the macroeconomic impacts of it, I see two things. Some of the sectors would be affected in the short run to intermediate run, pretty bad. For example,
let's elaborate on that.
Yeah, yes, I'm going to. For example, the AI would replace. In fact, yesterday I was talking to a colleague of mine who is a data scientist, another PhD professor, and we were just talking about that. The immediate impact, the way I think, will be in the IT tech area, because take, for example, an computer architect like yourself, Sam. to get the architect for a complicated program, complicated development, you need several architects, right? And then once you have developed the architecture, then you write codes. So here
And
comes
let's
AI.
also talk about writers and
Yes,
any,
I'm coming to that.
any knowledge profession, professors, teachers.
Yes, I'm coming to that. So that sector, which is one of the major value-added sector, probably the highest in the service area, will be affected. Second most important area would be the education. In fact, I think the education, particularly in the higher ed, everything is run at even masters and PhD level. Lots of things, dissertations, master's thesis could be done in minutes by AI. Most of the literature review, the current knowledge, the received knowledge would be done by AI. However, PhD in particular needs something new, absolutely new contribution. So there, I think AI can lead up to a certain point, but it will be up to the faculty member guiding the dissertation, and the student doing that will not have much impact of AI. Lots of universities, including the top universities such as MIT, Harvard, Stanford, including ours, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, etc., we are developing some policies for AI. In other words, students cannot use AI to write their thesis. It will be guided. They're up to a certain point they can use, but they have to show they have fundamentally done something on their own. In terms of test taking, AI will not be able to, they will not be able to use AI. We'll have lockdown systems. So we are we're developing some policies that will impact significantly.
So our first point was regarding the displacement of workers and wage displacement.
Yes, I'm coming to that. So as I said, there'll be lots of impact immediate. So if you are running a software company, let's say you have a small software company.
Let's not talk about software companies. Let's talk about just, an average writer who writes articles for a website.
Yes, for example, right now the Screen Actors Guild are on strike. Screen Actors Guild are on strike. Okay, so there is no new programming coming up, and you saw that the networks and then the streaming companies such as Netflix, Prime, Amazon Prime, they're all asking the Screen Actors Guild or the professional writers to end their strikes. Here comes AI. If something episodes are going on, if the strikers are striking, AI can write the script for the follow-ups. Okay, so there goes billions of dollars of pay cut, billions of dollars of sacrifice by these people have to do. So there'll be some immediate impact of AI that can come. So I think the global economy, of course, advanced economies are going to see the brunt of it, and developing countries, AI is not that prevalent, but countries such as big as China, India, etc., Brazil, they are also going to see, and most of Europe are going to see lots of applications of AI and implementation of AI. So globally speaking, there is a threat. However, threat is one thing, and from threat comes opportunities. So I think there is significant opportunity that AI will pose to the marketplace. And that's where individuals need to be innovative. Just like before the advent of computer, we saw the global village, global macro change.
Conclude question one, you think AI will immediately displace workers and remove their wages potentially to the point where they do not get a paycheck anymore, and this is a potential major scenario?
I don't think that will be the case. I don't think there'll be total displacement. There'll be some layoffs, some cut downs, because somebody has to still do the final proofreading and all that AI. Just because AI exists means you will not have a finished product to the extent that individuals do. Okay, so there will be some monitoring needed. In fact, we had a lot of discussions going on in academia. So even though AI will shorten the number of hours need to prepare a product, but it will not replace entirely. So that what that means that lots of wage, in fact, reduction of hourly wage, particularly in the area of consultants and temporary workers, etc. And that hurts the economy in the short run.
Okay, so point number two, what about the argument that AI will make us superhumans and increase productivity and GDP in the long run?
Yeah, I can see that, but that is a little far-fetched, because yes, AI will be superhuman once you build a robot at that $30,000 a piece or $10,000 a piece, like Mr. Musk is asking. Then that will replace many human labor in all fields, like physical labor in the agricultural field, physical labor in the area of mining or industrial area, including truck driving. Right now, there are 60,000 jobs in the trucking area are open. When the robot AI-driven truck comes online, those jobs will be redundant. Of course, somebody has to monitor those. So there'll be a lot of back-end jobs. I don't think there'll be one for one. So there'll be some adverse effects in that area too. Yep.
So yeah, but what about the argument that these increase in AI systems will make human beings more productive and increase overall output and GDP and overall output of all of humanity? Because say, for example, one person before AI was only able to do one task. Now they can deploy AI agents to do 10 of the tasks, and they can be the visioneer.
Remember, in the production process, there are multiple inputs needed. One is called capital, one is labor, and the other are raw material and resources, right? So AI and the robot that you're talking about can replace probably labor, human physical labor, and part of the capital.
AI can replace labor. It can purchase products for you, so it can replace resources. It can.
No, that is
It can. AI can buy raw materials for you. As of right now, as of GPT-4, you can add the Expedia and Amazon plugin, and AI can buy raw materials for you.
No, buying is something we're not talking about. Yes, absolutely, they can buy it. But where is the raw material? There's limited resources. The fundamental resources, land, okay, minerals, metals are limited.
Okay.
Like, for example,
but you don't.
But there could be alternatives. Alternatives. 1 second. Alternatives such as coal is limited, oil is limited, but there are ample replacement by renewables. So those are the fields. Resources are limited, even though AI and advent of these robots will stretch much, to the limit or beyond the limit in terms of labor. But the raw materials need to be there.
So will this speed up consumption of raw materials for production?
Well, because if the human growth is sustainable, if human being grows at the current rate, we are already crossed 7 billion, then of course there'll be more raw material needed. Primarily, AI would not replace the food. AI will replace the production process of the food, but not food itself. Unless you can re-engineer those foods and generate that in the lab, which many of them are doing it right now. Okay. So if you have manufactured food, then that's different.
So do you think AI will give us superhuman-like productivity or increase overall productivity for humanity and increase GDP for all nations on Earth? I think the question is, does it have the potential to do that?
It has the potential, but I don't see that's happening quickly because the inequality among the countries and the income distribution is staggering.
Okay, so let's just say 4 countries that are already ahead that have access.
For those countries, it will probably increase the GDP and the faster process of production, which the countries can distribute among the developing countries once they have a good trading system.
Okay, so the third point, which will be continuous on our discussion, and thank you for answering that. So the third question is, do you think that AI has the potential to increase the overall size of capital markets in the United States, meaning the whole entire gross dollar value of all stocks traded on all exchanges? Or do you think it's going to balance out, effectively allowing mega companies to become much larger and have a concentrated position?
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Mega companies will be even more mega. There'll be merger, acquisition in the moment's notice. Okay. So those will be, of course, subject to regulations. and because regulators already are talking about those. So this in March just by Activision Blizzard and Microsoft is still not done. But there will be lots of restructuring in the corporate world. And then the financial instruments, financial transaction, it's already there. It's called QFS, Quantum Financial Systems, which is QFS. So the money movement will be much faster. But again, those will be funds moving quicker, companies getting bigger, but I don't know whether it will increase the total value of the capital markets. It will if more countries participate in that. Okay, right now the Western world, Western Europe and United States mostly, and some countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, etc., participate in the capital market. But many countries like Africa, major continent, lots of countries in Latin America are not participating in the capital markets. So once you can bring them to the fore, then of course the valuation will grow significantly.
Okay. Well, I think that is enough discussion for today. We're going to talk about further topics, and thank you so much for tuning into Wall Street Tactical. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be talking. If you have any questions about AI, please mention them in the comments, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you. Enjoy. Bye-bye.